So I'm going to show you that these are all been soaking for 24 hours in a bleach solution. So this is going to dissolve away any organic buildup. Go ahead and start draining these. So all that's left is going to be just a residual bio or mostly a calcium buildup, but also some algae as well. So we want to make sure we drain all the bleach water out and rinse it really well, because next we'll be using acid to finish cleaning. Be very careful when you do this not to get your shirt wet. This bleach will wreck your shirt very quickly. I've lost several shirts this way. This stage is just lots of rinsing. Get all that bleach out of here. You can see here that there's still some green algae, so maybe the bleach didn't get all the way through that, so we'll see how that cleans up with the acid. Might have to do that one again. So at this stage, we're using the muriatic acid. I get this from the hardware store. This is some pretty nasty stuff. I got fairly decent airflow in this room to deal with any fumes. Like I already see, we got fumes. Don't let this come in contact with your skin. Okay, this isn't washing off. So this will have to soak again, but at least now there's less calcium to deal with. You can already see this is cleaning up nicely, except for that bottom part. So I'll do that one again. Just put it aside. This one here cleaned up really nice. So I do not see any residue in this one. This one's cleaned up like new. And I'll just set this aside to start draining. One more. I'm always rinsing. Last thing you want to do is accidentally come in contact with the acid. Very careful about splashing. This one came out looking nice and clean as well. These gallon jugs, glass jugs, you get them on Amazon. I've got a link in the description if you're interested in looking them up. I also get this glass tubing on Amazon. Also down the link in the description. So for these, what I do is I actually soak these in a bath to get the calcium out of the inside and sterilize the outside. So these will take a little bit more of a process. The lids I also soak in a solution of the acid. Basically, by the time I'm done my dishes, everything was like new again. So those I'll put aside and clean those later. Just another rinse. Now for these, I'm going to take these over to the microwave, start heating up some water, and I'll show you that next. And so over here is where we have our saltwater area. So what we're doing, we have a sediment filter down below in a BRS reactor, and I have that pumping up into this here spigot. So this is all filtered salt water. This salt water has been filtered through 1 micron sediment filter, so that way there's no dust, no hair, no detritus. Very minimal contaminants. So each beaker we're going to be filling about 800 to 900 milliliters. We have 4 of them. And this is basically going to be filling up a 1 gallon jug. So you see here, filling up to about 900 milliliters. Have to give them a rinse before filling to get any dust out. Because whatever's in this water is going to be in the phytoplankton cultures, so we gotta make sure it's as clean as possible. Alright, so that's that. I'm going to go ahead and bring this over to the microwave and we'll start heating it up. Alright, so this right here is going to be our microwave. I had to pick one that was big enough to fit all 4 beakers. So just place these inside. So as you can see, we can fit roughly 1 gallon of water in the microwave. Set the time, I go 38 minutes. And up here I got one of our jugs just dripping, so we don't have any excess fresh water inside. That's yeah, I'll cut back here when it's done. So while we wait for the microwave to heat up that water, I'm just gonna work on my larval traps. Oops, if I plug it in. So I've been making these larval traps now for about 15 years. I've really come a long way. Actually, I have an example of one. got two examples. So this right here was actually one of the original larval trap design. So it's pretty crude. We didn't actually weld it together. We used Gorilla Glue. So this is very fragile. But it did its job the first time we used it. So that was the prototype. Eventually we came up with this. We were using these here hangers that you had to heat up to bend over the side of the tank. Yeah, the screen portion, very different than what I have now. And now I don't have one to show you. I actually don't have any larval traps finished right now, but this kind of shows you a little peek at the process. So I'm just checking the heat, make sure it's softening up the joints. I clamp it onto the jig, let it cool off. Start that one. When I first started making these, each of these bends I did over a candle. It was very labor intensive. Took me forever. Actually, I think this one right here is one that I made using a candle as well. Kind of hard to tell for sure. Ever since I made these here heating jigs, it has really sped things up. I can actually heat 5 to 6 strips at a time. But I've only got 3 templates right now, so that's kind of what I stick with. These thermostats I got, well, not thermostats, probably rheostats. I got those on Amazon. Work really nice. And the acrylic, you actually watch as it starts to heat, it'll flex up and it'll flex back down once it's heated. That's the acrylic relaxing. You can see the heating element does get a little bit red the longer we run it. So I'll do a test, make sure it's soft, apply it to the jig, clamp it, and let it cool. While those cool, I'll put the next set of strips on the heater. There, those are ready. Check the heat. So the big ones, we gotta really let that cool off, otherwise it likes to split out or spread out. These smaller ones hold their shape much better. Yeah, usually I'm watching a movie while I'm doing this, not making a movie. Yeah, that water's got another 30 minutes on it, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video and I'll be right back. Alright, microwave just finished. Get this all set up here. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting the glass air tube in here. Got the jug. Got some clean caps. Put the oven mitt on. Now this water is going to be really hot. So pouring it over the airline is going to help sterilize it instantly. Careful not to spill. So this water is heated to pretty close to boiling. So it's going to sterilize the inside of this gallon jug. So that we can avoid any contaminants. Use this. Just put the cap on. There we go. And what I do after this is I take some aluminum foil. Wrap it on the top. Try and get an airtight seal best you can. And that's it. I'll go ahead and bring this over to the algae room, sit on the floor. It's concrete floor so I can pull some of the heat out. Let this sit for 24 hours until it's room temperature, and at that point I'll be adding the fertilizer and add the algae. So I culture Rhodomonas, T-iso, and Nanochloropsis. I use this method for the clean cultures, and then for cultures that I'm not necessarily going to be using to start new cultures from, the cultures that just get fed to the copepods. A lot of times I'll just skip the whole heat sterilizing process, because this does take, you know, almost an hour per culture, so it's a lot of time. So the cultures that don't need to be sterile, I'll just use filtered salt water and not heat sterilize it. But yeah, that's it. That's all I do for phytoplankton cultures.